Scott here with Rafters, Sports and Movies, and we're dropping the gloves today with a special guest. Well, we're not going to play that way. We're going to play nice. We're going to drop the puck as part of our inaugural season with our guest, ChristopherVnelson, who comes to us having worked on Miracle, Mighty Ducks Game Changer, Youngblood, yes, 1986, Youngblood, yes, 2025. Oh, we've got some stories. Let's bring him on. Here is ChristopherVnelson.
What's going on, Scott? How are you, sir?
I am good. How is the weather there where you're at?
Unfortunately, it was tough because I had to go out and wash my car today, and I actually had to put on a hoodie. So it's about 85 degrees right now. It's really tough. You know, we suffer out here sometimes in California.
It is not hockey weather in California, I don't think, ever, except maybe in the north.
Well, if you want to call roller hockey, yes, we can play roller hockey here almost 300 days a year. So it's always a good time for hockey, but no, we don't have the luxury of the frozen ponds and going out there and skating out there like we did back in the back east.
Well, tell me about that, and let's talk about back east and growing up and little Christopher going through the years to where you are now. How do we get from playing rink hockey to making movies and producing rink hockey, which we all enjoy?
Let's see. Born in Philadelphia, moved from Philadelphia, California. The big earthquake, I think it was like 71, something like that. My parents didn't like that and moved to New Hampshire. So at the age of 3, that's when I started playing hockey in New Hampshire out in the frozen pond at Dartmouth Arena. Thompson Arena at Dartmouth College. And then the pipes in our house burst. My parents didn't like that. We moved back to sunny California. And my parents said that unfortunately I'll never play hockey again. And we happened to move next door to a rink. I tried out for a team when I was in 6th grade and I made the team. And that's what solidified me to play hockey in Los Angeles.
So how tall are you?
6'2".
6'2". Okay, so you've got the what we call a standard hockey build, right?
Well,
because if you're 5'8" or below, you may be fast, but you're really short.
Back then, I was considered, tall and lanky. I mean, I think my freshman year at Wisconsin, I was 6'2", 162 pounds. So it's tall and lanky. And then, come my senior year, I was 6'2", 185. But now you look at the average size in the NHL. I mean, I think I'm average size now, 6'2", 6'3" now. My D partner,
Rimpey's a giant. I think Rimpey's 6'5", 6'7" at a giant.
Yeah, I'll see him tonight. As a matter of fact, is he healthy? Is he still playing?
I don't know. I don't know where he is
tonight. So I'll be at the Kings game tonight. So I'll find out and let you know. I'll report back to you.
Yeah, report back. That Rafters always has the good news. So I got our first question in the chat from Russell. He asked, what position did you play in hockey, and is that your favorite position? I added the last part.
I started playing forward when I was a kid, but as I guess good coaches know and understand and realize is that the most important person besides the goaltender is someone who can defend both ends of the rink. So I could skate, better than anyone else on my team back in New Hampshire. That unfortunately got me locked into the defensive role. So I played defense from 6th grade all the way through to I went to camp in New Jersey. And then when I reported to camp in New Jersey, we had a couple of defensemen that you might know of. Fetisov, Danico, Stevens, Alblin, Niedermeyer, Bruce Driver, Kevin Dean, those guys, pretty much all Hall of Famer defensemen, so I couldn't break that core. So Lou Lamoriello decided to try me at a forward that I hadn't played since I was in 5th, 6th grade. First shift, first touch the puck, shot, bar down on Brodeur. Didn't know what I was doing. But I've always been a defenseman pretty much ever since then.
Okay, so do you have your front teeth? Are they real?
I have 10 fake teeth. 10. These front 2 are fake. I got 5 or 6 back here. They're done. Some concussions back here. Those are shattered. So come some Halloween, I looked like a jack-o'-lantern because you put a
Oh.
black on me and my teeth were all different colors.
Oh no. So let me just clarify this for everybody that's listening. You shot all over the place. You were all over the country. You settled in California.
Uh-huh.
You go from California to Wisconsin and you play in hockey, and you win a national championship. The what would we call Sweet 16 on ice. You know, you guys won the championship your sophomore year. Is that right?
Sophomore year, yeah. So I went from LA to 2 years of prep school in Michigan, back to LA, then went to junior hockey in Rochester, Minnesota. Then I went to Wisconsin. And
so everything was, you were prepping. You were taking your steps to get there.
Exactly. And so we won a national championship my sophomore year, and we lost the finals my senior year.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. So when it comes to the finals, so everybody else knows, the finals in college hockey, it's a 1-game series, right? It's a 1 year.
Yeah, it's similar to basketball. I mean, I think, what is it, 64 teams that make the tournament in basketball, something like that. And back then, I think it was 16 teams, I think, with hockey. So it got whittled down pretty fast. You don't have the big, long, March Madness of the whole, month of it. But, I didn't realize this till afterwards. Our teams were so good, at Wisconsin. We were always a powerhouse. I mean, my freshman year, we had Curtis Joseph was our starting goaltender. He left out the first year, and Dwayne Dirksen was essentially our backup goaltender, who then became the starting goaltender by sophomore, junior, senior year. And we won a national championship with essentially our backup goaltender, which was, Dwayne Dirksen, even though he was a fantastic goalie. To think we had, we had Chris Tansel, we had Johnny Bice, we had Marco Siki, we had Sean Hill. We had such amazing players at Wisconsin. Every single year, we were always in the tournament. That when the kids would go on spring break, like, we didn't even plan for spring break because we just knew that we would go play in the tournament. We were always, we're always the top, 5, 6, 7 teams. We're always, always playing over spring break.
And that's what really, and I think baseball in America has kind of followed the pattern of what hockey kind of has always been, is a year-round sport.
Yep. And
you travel, and hockey players have always, packed up their bag. It's a really big bag. Yep. And I have my hockey gear. We'll talk about that off camera. That's the billet families, and that's what Wayne Gretzky grew up, and he was living with the billet family, and they were taking him to his games, making sure he got fed, making sure he went to bed, and that is where I think baseball will end up eventually. They're now getting onto the travel teams. And it's been that way for a while. It's been about 15 years that they've been doing travel teams, but hockey's been doing it ever since the beginning of time.
Yeah. I had a billet family in Rochester, Minnesota. They were the Klingpusses. And, it was amazing to, for a family to take, in a complete stranger and house them, feed them, and you learn, their ways of the house. And, I never fished for walleye in my life. I didn't even know what a walleye was. And then there I am, on the lake, fishing with Josh. Klingpuss was his name. We're fishing for walleye. And, I quickly adapted to the Midwest, which helped me, make that transfer into Wisconsin. Because, a kid from, New Hampshire when I was young came up to California. I was a city kid. And then to go to, Rochester, Minnesota, which is, by the Mayo Clinic, I'm in the Midwest. And then to go from Rochester right down the road to Wisconsin, I was already well equipped, to the weather and the cold climate and, the traditions of the Midwestern town. So it was a great experience that I went through.
That's incredible. So I didn't mention this when I did your intro, but I want to show you your banner is right there. You're right above the Christian hockey stick. That's you.
Yep.
And here's what it looks like. There you are, all in blue. And so you're now immortalized in the Rafters with me at Rafters Sports and Movies, and appreciate you coming on again. So you played all this hockey, and then you get opportunities to do stuff with hockey. Let's first jump to the original Youngblood, which I has always been a favorite of mine. I actually think I watched that before Slapshot, even though Slapshot was way before Youngblood. And I didn't even know that was Keanu Reeves till I was well into my adulthood as the goalie. But tell me about how that transpired and some stories about that.
It's funny. There was a guy by the name of Jack White who was one of my coaches, and he was big into film and TV. He, since I was such a great skater, he invited me to come down and said, "Hey, I'm doing this movie, and I'd like to know if you want to maybe help me out with some of the actors that are having some trouble learning how to skate." And I was a naturally gifted skater, so I said, "Sure, no problem at all." And I went down the Corpus City ice rink, and here I was, get paired up with this guy, and he didn't really know much about the sport, but I worked with them, and basically Jack would tell Rob Lowe what to do, but he's go, "Watch Chris. Here's what Chris is going to do." And then here I am, 14, 15 years old, out there zipping around, and then Rob would kind of emulate what I was doing on the ice. So that was my first exposure to the film industry. There were no cameras on, nothing like that. It was just a one-on-one session with myself and Rob Lowe, and then his brother Chad would come to the rink, and that's where Chad and I became friends. Chad's a huge director now, and he did some episodes, I think, of Bones and stuff like that. So that's where my introduction to Hollywood. To take it another step further, Jack invited me to come down and do another TV show and said, "Hey, we're shooting a show. It's down by the beach. You want to come help me out?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem at all." He goes, "Report to the beach. They have a trailer for you." I did that. 7 o'clock in the morning, someone knocks on my door, and I open up the door to my trailer, and I'm on the beach. And it was this show that you might have heard called Baywatch. And that was like, I think I want to do this for real. So that's when I really, really got involved in television, commercials, filmmaking.
So I think it's amazing that 1986, you work with, or 85, depending on how they filmed it. It came out in 86. You work with Rob Lowe. You've got Patrick Swayze, who, rest in peace, Patrick Swayze. But you left us some great movies to watch.
Yep.
And Keanu Reeves is in that as well. And then we fast forward to 2024, 25, and you're working on the reboot of Youngblood.
Yeah. That's when you know you're old. when you work on
we're the same age, so don't make me feel old.
The remake or readaptation, and you're still working on them. So yeah, it's fun to look back on it, to see what the 85, 86 version of Youngblood was, and then what we have now in the 25, 26 year version of it. There are similar titles. The characters have similar names, but the movies are vastly different. Where you've got Rob Lowe, who basically need to learn how to fight, and then you've got Ashton James, who did a phenomenal job with our latest adaptation of Youngblood, who we had to bring his anger kind of down a little bit. So it was kind of fun working on both films to see the dynamic between the two characters. Also,
you've got the B hockey or lower level hockey that Rob Lowe is like in a barn. Like it almost looks like they're lucky they even have a place to hang their jackets.
Yeah.
Whereas the Ashton's character, Dean, his barn looks pretty nice, and his locker room looks pretty swanky.
We shot that in Barrie. We shot most of the hockey stuff in Barrie, Ontario. So we had to use the Barrie Colts locker room, which we were graced with a 5,000 seat arena that we had the whole rink to our beck and call, which is fantastic. So shout out to the city of Barrie and to their facility allowing us to film the movie there. But with that rink, we also had just an amazing set of skaters. I mean, all the guys had played, junior A, junior B level hockey, and they were phenomenal out there. So, if you look back at the original Youngblood, it looks kind of hokey a little bit, some of the skating and some of the plays and scenes. Not that they didn't really work, it wasn't really authentic hockey. Where what we have out, our version, the latest version, is real hockey with real hits and real athletes. So I took what I took from Miracle, where we hired athletes and taught them how to act. It's kind of the same approach we did with Youngblood, with the exception of Ashton James. He's an actor. So we took like Kurt Russell, who was an actor, and had him be the coach for Herb Brooks. Ashton was an actor who could play hockey, but he elevated his level of hockey as well out there. So he rose to the occasion with the other players that we had out there on the ice. So it's very, very believable. It looks amazing.
I watched an interview with Ashton, and he said, I didn't know how to do a hockey stop because that's what I wanted to do. It's really cool with the spray, and it's really, really cool. And once I got it, I got it.
Yeah.
So kudos to your team, you and your team, for getting him there, because he didn't do it on his own. And he admitted that straight up, that he had to learn, he had to put in the time to get the hockey stop. And there's a whole science to that. I mean, once you got it, you got it.
Yeah. With Ashton, unfortunately, Ashton was, I think, one of the first person cast by Charles Officer, who was the original director. Unfortunately, Charles had passed away prior to filming, which pushed the movie back 2 years. And over those 2 years, Ashton and I were able to work, consistently on his hockey, because I would send him videos of what I need him to do out there to establish him as a hockey player. There's nothing I hate more when you see a hockey player or a movie, you see the skates moving, and then you cut to the face and he's on a dolly being pulled over. I will never do a movie or TV show or commercial like that. I just won't do that. I refuse to. And
right.
With the 2 years that we had to work with it, Ashton went from never being able to do a hockey stop to doing his own hockey stops, to doing his own stick handling, to do his own shooting. Because originally, Hubert, the director, and I had discussed, we just need a shot of Ashton in the garage, stick handling and shooting pucks. We can do that to establish him playing hockey. Cut to 2 years now, we had a chance to work together. Now he's out there doing his own skating. He's skating around. He's doing his hits. He's doing those celebrations. He's scoring goals. Yes, we had other stunt doubles there to protect him, because you don't want to go out there hurting your main actor, because we did some vicious hits out there that you'll see in the film. But Ashton was able to hold his own and do his own stuff out there, which was great. It made my life that much easier.
That's awesome. And also awesome that he was able to, because not every actor wants to take that on. Not every actor wants to stand next to the live tiger, if you will. Yeah. And I've had previous guests where there was a live tiger.
Yeah.
And actors like, I'm not standing next to that unless you're between you, me, and the tiger. So he took on the tiger and put in the work. And I'm excited for March. That's still on for a March release.
March 6th, correct. March 6th, nationwide. Yeah.
Okay. So that's exciting.
The thing right now with actors is that, you can't fake it anymore. I mean, you look at like what Tom Cruise is doing with flying planes, what Brad Pitt's doing with racing cars. I mean, those days of like, we're in a green screen and fake it, the authenticity isn't there anymore. And the fans are smart enough to understand that and see that. So, the actor's got to step up to the plate, and he can't hope that, maybe we'll shoot around it. If you want to make a real good, action-packed, authentic sports movie, the actor has to get in there and get his hands dirty, and that's what Ashton did.
Right. So I see your chair in the background to your left, so I'm pointing that out to everybody. That is a chair from Miracle.
Yes, yeah.
That's your cast chair. So let's talk. We got the Olympics coming up. I'm super excited for some Olympic hockey.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the what was it? The Four Nations last year was a nice intro. I could have done without the fighting. Everybody's like, I'm so excited about that. That's kind of hokey.
Yeah, I hear it, I get it, but to the layman, I guess, the person that isn't really knowledgeable about the sport, is that part of excitement, I guess, that people like to see. Like if you go to NASCAR and you see the car go around the track a bunch of times, you don't really want to see a crash, but when you do see a crash, everybody kind of stands up and they're like, oh my God. So what Four Nations did, it was great for hockey. I don't know so much about the three fights they had in the first, 9 seconds of the game.
Right.
Maybe there might have been some bad blood somewhere, but it did raise the awareness of hockey. So that part I can appreciate. I don't necessarily like to see all the fighting. We have some fights in our movie, of course. It's toned down. It's not like, Goon. We definitely weren't going to do that because the NHL is going to back a movie of that sort. So we got the backing of the NHL with what we did in our film. But it's an element of the sport that, I understand. Four Nations, it was a lot to handle, but it definitely brought more awareness to the sport. The more people that are aware of hockey, the more opportunities I have to work in the industry to do more scripts. So I'm thankful for that, but I do understand the fact that sometimes a little bit too gratuitous, I guess is the word. I can't watch MMA. I can't watch it. It's too much for me. But some people love it. It's not my cup of tea.
No, I agree. That was the part that turned me down on it. I thought it gave the sport a little bit of a black eye. I don't think it was necessary. I get it if you're trying, tit for tat, trying to, level or, you hurt my player.
Yeah.
But, let's just skate harder, faster, and score more goals. How about that?
I mean,
if we win,
if someone runs a goaltender, there's going to be an altercation. You're defending your goaltender. It kind of caught me and a lot of people off guard when they dropped the mitts right at puck drop. I was like, oh, so it makes me think. I mean, once again, I wasn't at the game. I wasn't in the locker room. They weren't mics, so I didn't know what was going on. Maybe there was some bad blood from somewhere. Who knows what it is? I mean, you got to talk to the Kachuk brothers to find out about that and with Bennett. But, I don't have a true answer for that. But maybe there might have been something going on beforehand.
Well, it almost cost Kachuk a second ring because he was hurt the whole season because of it.
Yeah.
So, there are consequences, but he got his second ring, and who knows if they make the playoffs this year. Right now, they're not tracking.
Yeah.
So tell us some about Miracle, because that, on a lot of people's list, for mine, that is my number one hockey movie. Number two is Slapshot, but it only hits number two because it's a comedy, and I think a drama should be above that.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Miracle came from a couple individuals that contacted me and they said, hey, we're doing this hockey film with Kurt Russell. We're curious if you want to be involved in working on it. And I said, yeah, sure, absolutely. And they said, okay, well, why don't you meet us at the Lowe's Hotel in Santa Monica, and we'll have you ask a couple questions. Kurt Russell's going to be there, and Kurt and some other people are going to be in the room, some Disney execs, and we'll see how the report goes. So I walked in the room and saw Kurt Russell, I saw Herb Brooks, and there's probably 40 people in this room, and I asked Coach Brooks, I go, I got a question for you. Where did you develop and how did you teach your players the constant, regrouping and the constant movement of speed and agility with hockey? How did you do that? Coach Brooks looked me dead in the eye. He goes, Nelly, you played for me in New Jersey. You played for me in all the select 16 national teams. I was your coach. Why are you asking that kind of question? I go, well, I know, but for everybody else in the room, can you kind of explain to them that they don't know? So they'll have a better understanding of what your thoughts and philosophies are with hockey. And he went on this whole thing and said, well, what Chris is talking about. And then, Kurt Russell chimed in. He goes, oh, yeah, I know Nelly. Nelly, him and my son Wyatt, they go way back, and he knows Katie. Yeah, he's like a family friend. At that point, I was like, I guess that's a pretty good job interview. And they asked me to step outside. I stepped outside for about 10 seconds. They brought me back in. They go, everybody, this is Chris Nelson. He's now our technical advisor on the movie Miracle. And that led into a 2-year journey of flying all over North America, from Vancouver to Toronto to Boston to LA to Minneapolis, to handpick all these players for the film. And we had to get their likenesses, had to get their accents, they had to shoot the right way. They definitely had to have the hockey sense because it's very hard to mask an actor because they didn't wear face masks back then. These days when you do Mighty Ducks or you do, Youngblood even per se, everyone has half shields. So you kind of fake it a little bit.
We go way back to the original Youngblood and you wear a Jason mask.
we were lucky to have Bill Ranford. So fortunately, when you do a hockey movie, the easiest person in the world to double is the goaltender. Now, Bill Ranford did the stunt work for Jimmy Craig, the goaltender. So that made it real easy. But all those other hockey players out there, they were all real hockey players. I mean, Sasha Lakovic, who's with the New Jersey Devils, he played Boris Mikhailov. We had Todd Harkins, who played umpteen years in NHL. I think his son plays on the Ducks right now. He was one of the Russian players. Then you've got all the other guys, on the U.S. team. They all had college, junior A experience. So they were all zipping out there, and that's really set the modern tone of how to shoot a proper hockey film.
And you had the backing of Disney.
Yeah, Disney was fantastic. I mean, they opened the doors to us and said, look, make it look real. And we said, okay. And Gavin O'Connor said, give me what you got. And he, gracefully let me, do what I needed to do to make all this stuff real. And it was a home run.
So Russell asked, did you meet Kurt Russell? And the answer is yes, and yes, and yes.
Yes. I've met Kurt several times. I mean, LA's a small town. And Wyatt, his son, played goalie. Katie was a big hockey fan. And Katie and I actually lived very close to each other in Manhattan Beach. So we knew each other. So it was like, oh, my God, it's Kurt Russell. I was like, hey, Kurt, how are you doing? Hey, good to see you again. It was that type of thing. I mean, living in LA, you see it all the time.
He is probably in the top 5 OG sports movie actors. As a matter of fact, I watched one recently. It's a football movie from 2004 where he's the coach, called Touchback. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't seen it, it's a good watch. It's very heartwarming. I mean, that's why we watch these sports movies, for the heartwarming feeling we get at the end where he overcomes triumph or gets the chalice, or just realizes that maybe the sport's not for him. That's another avenue. And I don't like that avenue. But, if you end up finding a better, stronger, faster, kind of like The Sandlot, the narrator in Sandlot, he didn't become a pro player. He became the announcer. So, he led his best life. So I appreciate you spending some time with me today. I have my next, a big, exciting thing for you. And it is 4 to 5 questions in 4 to 5 seconds.
Let's go.
So here we go. Favorite sports moment. Now, this could be your moment. This could be any moment. When somebody says, hey, what's your favorite sports moment? What would you tell them?
Is that me involved or just something I've seen?
It could be both. You could do one of each, or you could do just one. Either way.
My favorite sports moment had to be winning a national championship in Julius Arena when I was a sophomore at the University of Wisconsin, to where the naysayers said that I would never do anything with hockey in my career. So it wasn't so much being drafted. It wasn't so much getting a full scholarship to Wisconsin, but winning a national championship and looking in the stands and seeing my parents up in the stands at the game, knowing all the hard work, blood, sweat, and tears that they put their lives through to be able to afford for me to play hockey. That's probably my biggest sports moment.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So next question. First sports movie. What's the first sports movie you remember when you were little, Christopher?
First sports movie, Bad News Bears.
Bad News Bears. That's mine too. Mine too. Favorite motivational sports movie. What's the motivational sports movie you watch and you would just run through a wall, like whatever? Let's get it done.
Miracle, plain and simple. Miracle.
Okay.
That's it. I mean, it's unbelievable that I had the opportunity to work on that film. And watching that movie in the theater, already knowing everything that goes on, that every play, because I wrote every single play, every celebration, every hit. But I tell you, that moment when Kurt Russell goes in the tunnel and it's all wet down and he's by himself and he gives that fist bump, he's like, yes, it still gives me chills to this day. It absolutely does. I watch that scene and I will go through a cement wall. It gets me amped up.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. You nailed it with the answer to the question. That's exactly what we're lining up there. So we're going to take it kind of in a different direction. Now, you're going to watch a movie, and in this fantasy world I'm creating for you, it's anywhere, any kind of chair, lounge, bed, whatever. Any of that. And then so you're set up, you're comfortable, you're watching whatever movie you want in the whole wide world, or you can make one up in your mind. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite movie snack drink that you bring to it, or have delivered? Uber shows up, or it just magically appears in you. What's your favorite movie sports drink?
Sports drink would have
food and drink.
It would have to be cherry, which is kind of the same thing, but cherry Dr. Pepper.
Oh, okay.
With small ice cubes.
Okay, like the slushy kind of ice cubes, not quite slushy, but almost. Yes,
exactly.
It's the Sonic ice cubes, maybe.
Yeah, it's a special ice cube that you can only get I think 7-Eleven has it. Not the big ice chunks, but those little tiny ice cubes. Maybe there's a lot of air in them. That's my go-to. Every single time.
And what are you going to snack on? Popcorn or something different?
It's a tub of popcorn and Swedish fish.
Swedish fish, okay. Yeah. I had somebody say Skittles, and it wasn't even the split-second thought Skittles. He did the snack first before the drink. It was really classic.
Now that Skittles are banned all over the world, with the exception of America, I kind of stay away from those things.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anybody in the chat, got a couple of people in the chat that dropped by. Gory B Movie and Russell dropped by. Any of you guys have a question for Christopher before we close our time here today? We'll give them a couple of seconds. I really appreciate you taking the time. And we will be doing a movie watch for Miracle. I'll shoot you out a link if you're able to drop in. You'll be watching it on your device. As we watch it, we'll all sync up, and then we'll kind of in the same environment, chat about it and laugh about it. So Gory B Movie wants to know what your favorite horror movie is. Taking it to the different genre.
Ooh, favorite horror movie. I'm a big fan of Blair Witch Project. The marketing and how they jumped on that with the internet was absolutely fascinating. I mean, crazy. They crushed it. I don't think anything touches that. I mean, the M. Night Shyamalan movies. That's how you pronounce his last name. They're always good. I mean, he hasn't done anything since Sixth Sense that's really grabbed my attention. That was just a masterpiece. I think that's got to be a Blair Witch Project. I mean, there's something about how they shot it and how believable it was, and the editing and the secrecy behind it, and
the jumping of the camera phones or the whatever the kids were recording with.
Yeah, the conspiracy behind it. Is it real? Is it not real? I mean, that's I don't think it touches that at all.
And you could put those, you could take a couple of pieces of twig and tie them together and put them in your yard for Halloween, and people know what you're referencing, right? You could the Blair Witch Halloween house.
Exactly.
So a couple other questions. Let's see, I've already done that one. Corey B comes up with another one. Do you have a favorite sports movie about female athletes? That's a tough one.
$1 Million Baby. $1 Million Baby.
That one crushed me, but Clint Eastwood definitely knocked it out of the park when he acted and directed in that one. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, that's right.
Yep. I've got a couple circling right now, some female-driven hockey movies. So I'm really looking forward to do those to kind of show a different side that you don't normally see in sports worlds. So we've got a script that's looking very promising. So I'm looking forward to working on that one. Hopefully, if we get everything together, it would start shooting end of 2026. But there's definitely some good stuff circling around right now. But
I'm
as far as
excited.
driven $1 Million Baby.
I definitely like that we have a women's league, women's hockey league right now.
Mhm.
Now, do I think they need to expand? Absolutely, and they need to continue to grow. But I do think it's about time that they had their shot, if you will, of having a pro league on the ice, because they've done phenomenal in college for years, and in the Olympics.
I mean, Mark Johnson is a friend of mine. Mark Johnson obviously played in the 80 team, and Mark Johnson is the head coach of the women's team at Wisconsin. So what he's done with that program has been phenomenal. I mean, he won 6, 7 national championships already? So women's hockey is definitely in the move. The part that upsets me about women's hockey is that back when I was at Wisconsin, they didn't have a women's program. It didn't exist back then.
That is crazy.
So it's great to see what Mark has done with that program at my alma mater.
So we'll end our Q&A section here with what was it like working on directing the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, the TV series?
That one was tricky. The kids were all great. The cast was great. The team was great. But it was tricky because I adopted that in its second season. So they did the first season in Vancouver, and then they contacted me and said, hey, we have some issues up north. We're shooting the second season down in LA. Can you help us out with it? I was like, yeah, sure, no problem at all. The situation made it tricky is that the kids didn't really have a lot of skating experience. I mean, Brady Noon, who was by far the best hockey player of the kids out there, who could skate around, he was great. But it was difficult because I wanted to write and create these plays and use the actors in these plays, and it was very limited in what they could and what they couldn't do. Fortunately, we had some great doubles and stunt people in play for it, so it worked out fantastic. The part I don't understand is why Game Changers was taken off the air. To this day, I don't know why. They took off both season 1, season 2. Disney dropped it. And it's almost nowhere to be found. I think you might be able to find some episodes on some obscure websites. But for some reason, they did its full run and took it off the air. So I don't know if there was a falling out between the producers and Disney or what it was exactly. But, I like to watch shows and watch them over and over and over again to see what I could have done better, what I liked, what I didn't like. And for some reason, it was just gone. It just disappeared like a commercial that's run its path. And with the amount of content that, we need to have out there on these platforms, I don't know why they took it off the air. To this day, I still don't know why they did that.
It sounds like somebody got their didn't have all the signatures signed or something like that. Because I looked for it, I couldn't find it. I haven't done a deep dive yet, but I went on Disney and I was like, "Whoa, where is it?"
Yeah,
and the content was good from what I understand, and the storyline was good. But Gordon Bombay was in it again a couple of times, just enough to be in it. You know what I mean? Keep it going.
The rumor was that we were going to go to Hawaii. So season 3, the rumor was that the Ducks were to go to Hawaii for whatever reason it was, and they're going to play out there and some hockey tournaments and games and whatever it may be. And I was really looking forward to playing hockey and shooting hockey in Hawaii. I mean, odds are they were shot the exteriors in Hawaii. They did all the interiors back in LA. But I mean, that opportunity was really excited about that. It just it fell through.
That would have been the Brady Bunch goes to Hawaii vacation, Brady Bunch vacation in Hawaii with the tikis. Maybe they could have done the whole tiki thing.
Exactly.
That could be interesting. Well, so closing out our Q&A, thank you very much, folks, for watching, for giving us those questions. Christopher, what do you got coming up that you want to tell us about?
Let's see. We've got obviously the release of YOUNGBLOOD's coming out March 6th. There's a TV show called The Rooster, Steve Carell's new show. I think it's going to be on HBO. That one also comes out in March. We did, I think, 5 episodes of hockey in that one. I think they did a 10-episode season. I think 5 of those episodes have a lot of hockey sequences in that. That's going to be a fun show to be in a room with Bill Lawrence and Steve Carell and listen to Bill Lawrence. He did Shrinking. He did
Severance.
There's a Severance and Ted Lasso.
Love Ted Lasso. It's my all-time favorite.
So, I mean, I think Ted Lasso version with Steve Carell at the helm is going to be phenomenal. And then, of course, we did all the Delta commercials, the new Geico commercial that you saw with hats. You know, that's playing like every 8 seconds on a TV somewhere. So there's a lot of good stuff coming out. It's fun. Like we shot all this stuff, you know, the end of 2025, and now it's all kind of coming out in 2026. But we've got some big stuff on the horizon that I can't discuss yet. But hockey's hot right now. There's a lot of shows coming out. We're really looking forward to it. Keep
watching Rafters because Christopher's going to funnel it to me when he can, and then I'll funnel it to you. So that's how this works.
Oh,
so
God.
Friends, that's what friends do for friends. So Christopher, thanks. And you're like, this is probably your busiest March ever since Hockey March Madness for you when you were on the ice in college, because you've got all these movies coming out. You got commitments, and I really wish you the best for Youngblood. I do want to stress to everybody, it's not a copycat of the original.
No.
Don't, if you're going for that, just buy you a DVD of the original, because you can't stream it anywhere.
No, you can't find it anywhere. No, but
you'll have to.
This is not your Rob Lowe Youngblood.
Right.
This is your Austin James. This is your Hubert Davis. This is your Chris Nelson Youngblood. So
and Blair Underwood plays the dad. Yeah.
It's a fun ride.
So I'm going to put you in the back room. I'm going to close this out. Hang tight for me for a second. I'll meet you in the back room. Hey, we had a great interview. Special thanks to my guest today, Christopher V. Nelson, for coming and chatting some hockey movies. As you guys know, I love hockey. It is my all-time favorite sport, but it's sports movies here at Rafters. Thanks for dropping in. Leave us your comments. Don't forget to subscribe. You've been watching Rafters, Sports and Movies.